from Poughkeepsie, New York. It's very hard to say and spell, but just look it up. You'll be able to find it. It's about an hour north of New York City. So you can take a train right into New York City, so it's not too far, but it's not right in the city. So it's kind of a good location, right near the Hudson River. It's a huge area. So I grew up there. I went to high school, Arlington High School. And I think growing up in the Northeast kind of, helped me, kind of be tough and, not take it for granted, because now I get a chance to, go out on the field from February until September, because, spring training, I get down to Florida now, and that's just a, huge step in my life, and it's been definitely been a blessing. But yeah, where I'm from is, I think it's been a huge part of my life, and I'll always, represent it. It's been an honor so far since I've been in professional baseball. When I was growing up, my parents were like, hey, you want to play T-ball? And so they signed me up. I'm 6 years old, and I give it a couple practices and stuff, and I hated it. I hated baseball, and they're like, "Well, Mike, you can't quit. We're not going to raise a quitter." And I was like, "All right, I understand. I'm 6 years old, and I understood that." So I finished out the year, and I was like, "All right, I'm done with baseball. No big deal." Next year comes around, I'm 7, same thing. They're like, "Hey, do you want to play baseball?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And they're like, "Well, you're not going to quit, right? Like, don't want to quit." I was like, "No, I'll be good." Same thing happened. Wanted to quit about 2 practices in, and, same thing that made me finish it out. And then the next year, I remember I was 8 years old, and I had to beg them to let me play, because they were like, "No, we don't want the same thing to happen, sign you up for no reason." And ever since then, I kind of just didn't look back. And I think once I got to high school ball, I went to a high school with 4,000 people, so about 1,000 in the graduating class. Flying out with kids who already committed to D1s, like future draft picks in my school, and it was just like crazy environment. And I remember saying, I want to be that good. And, I pushed myself during that tryouts and literally gave it all I got. And I ended up making varsity as a freshman, which is like a big deal there. Yeah, huge deal. And the last kid to do that before me, he actually got drafted by the Atlanta Braves out of University of Michigan. His name's Drew Lugbauer, and he's been a huge part of my life, obviously. He was my catcher in high school, but he was the last one to do that before. So, for me to, do that, it was just a huge kind of accomplishment. I was like, wow, I can really go where I want to go with this game if I really, start working hard. And so since then, once I got to high school, I really put up so much into it, training, before school, after school, throwing, really doing research on what I needed to do to get better. And also getting on, a stage where, I can play, the best of the best, going to travel tournaments, in Florida, and, all these big, tournaments that, you can go to and, play the best of the best. I was always trying to look for them, being the best travel teams. So I think that's when I started thinking, well, I want to play professionally. I think a lot of people look at failure as a very bad thing, and I get that, because that's where I've been for, basically my whole life. But what I've realized, lately, ever since I got, into this profession is you gotta look at failure as almost a good thing, because that means all right, well, now that you have to get better at that, or oh, I didn't do that right, so I need to do it this way. And I think a lot of people, who look at failure as almost a good thing, are the people who actually, make huge strides in their life and kind of, get closer to what they want than a lot of other people who kind of sit there and kind of let it get to them, which is where I was for a long time. But I would say, trying to be very positive every day and kind of just let failure happen, because it's going to happen to everybody. Nobody's perfect. So.
Awesome. Hey, man, thanks again. I wish you the very best of luck this upcoming year, man, and we hope to see you on TV soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.